rounding the shop.
Testing, testing.
Yeah. One second. Yeah.
Testing, testing.
Can you speak again?
Testing, testing.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Q4 Worship Summit Live. My name is Paul Richards. I have been helping to host the Worship Summit for feels like more than 5 or 6 or 7 years. It's been a long time. Really enjoy this. It gives me a reason to really think about what's going on in worship, audio, video, and lighting. And I have a really interesting presentation. I'm excited and privileged to kick this off with everyone. So cannot wait to get started. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing today. As you can see here, we have some great presenters. I'm joined by Jake Gosselin, who is the founder of Churchfront, Dr. Ajay Holmes. I have Frank Schabell, who's from Church Pro Lighting, and then Monte Weaver, who's also very involved in his church and the technology that they use there. So very excited to be hosting this today. And I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to share my screen if that works. I am going to be talking about empowering the next generation of storytellers. So this should be fun. I think that this is a big opportunity. Let me see, by the way, do you guys want me to share my screen, or do you just want me to go ahead and just present like this? It looks like you want me to present like this, which should be fine. Let me know if everyone can see the presentation, and we're gonna jump right in. So I'm passionate about empowering the next generation of worship storytellers for a couple reasons. Great. Thank you, Mark. Everybody can see the presentation. One of the reasons why is because I think that a lot of houses of worship and organizations already have live streaming systems, and we can easily empower younger teenagers and younger members of our youth ministry to have a broadcast club and to be engaged and become modern worship storytellers. So there's a problem actually that we want to solve, and it's kind of about where do our youth fit in to the youth ministry that we're doing. Only 40% of church-going teens at 17 still attend regularly at 19. So there's a big drop-off that is known for teenagers, for young people in the church. And I think there's a way to start to expand what our youth programs are capable of and expand how they get in. So I'm really excited about engaging younger people and expanding how our youth programs work. So you may not know me, or you may know me. My name is Paul Richards. I'm the Chief Streaming Officer at Stream Geeks and PTZOptics. And over the years, I've just seen so many young people really come alive when they're given responsibility and given a role in a broadcast team, in a live streaming team. And the church probably already has a live streaming system. So I'm going to show you how it's not that hard to create a bunch of great roles for our youth to be more involved and foster new ways for them to volunteer. So why does this matter? 72% of teens say that youth programs help them develop a stronger faith. 68% of youth pastors identify youth retention as their biggest challenge. So this is one of the biggest challenges that pastors deal with, is how do we continue to, engage youth, especially at, 11, 12, 13, 14, as they've been in a youth program. Their parents enjoy them being in a youth program at the church and at your house of worship, but how do we, retain their attention and keep them engaged? Today, I'm going to show you how we can help youth programs really retain youth groups between ages 10 and 18, right? So, obviously youth groups have a great program for kindergartners going up to first grade, second grade, third grade. But my son is actually in fourth grade now. And a lot of the older boys and girls at the church that I'm a part of, First Presbyterian Church of Westchester, really are excited about the broadcast club that we're going to be building. And I think the church has an incredible opportunity to help these young people use the creativity to spread the message of God and the, what the organization's all about. Okay, Alec Bell is saying that you lost my mic. Is that still true? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Mic is back. Good. Here we go. So you guys can hear me. So if you already have a live streaming system, this is actually going to be pretty simple. We can expand the existing youth program by creating a broadcast club. And what happens is the broadcast club can support the church's already established live streaming initiatives. And I'm going to show you how easy this has become with technology today, where we can just use a simple Ethernet cable. Everything can be connected. And I'm going to show you some of the roles and some of the things we've been thinking about to make this as easy as possible. It allows you to provide these opportunities for our youth to remain engaged, have a role, have a purpose in the team. And I'm just couldn't be more excited about what we're going to be doing, giving students real world skills, putting them in the driver's seat, if you will, of a camera operation, and so many things that make being in a broadcast club fun, including one of my favorite things, which is real world management skills that I'm excited about providing people. So we're going to encourage them to collaborate, to have respect and a sense of belonging beyond what the existing youth program can do. Now, the cool thing is, if you already have a live streaming system, you can literally set up a broadcast club by connecting an Ethernet cable to the same network. It's going to be that easy. And I'm going to show you some of the things that we're putting in at my church to help build this broadcast club. And it couldn't be more exciting to me. The new broadcast club, you're going to need to set up a couple computers. You're going to have maybe a few laptops. In fact, we purchased some really affordable laptops that were renewed on Amazon. And I think they were like $200 or $300. They had an i7 processor in them. And I'm going to bring in, I think it's going to be like 4 or 5 laptops and a live streaming computer. And they literally just all need to be connected to the same network. And once that's done, we can keep the same live streaming system that you have in place, but create a safe place for the broadcast club to experiment and grow. And there's a lot of ways to do that. If a lot of your church's, members are watching the live stream on YouTube, maybe you let the broadcast club live stream to Facebook, or maybe they live stream to another destination that's not as mission critical as they're learning how to get all of this set up. So here's how it works. We're going to choose a space for the club. Now, at my church, we just so happened to have a completely open space. It was like just an old office. No one was in there. It already had an Ethernet cable drop. So all I'm going to do is take that space, clean it out, and I'll be creating kind of some tutorials and explaining kind of the experience. But we're going to take that room, clear it out, put some tables in there, put some monitors, some laptops, and get everything connected to the network. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose a club manager. And you can take one of your older members of your team who can get real world management skills by managing the broadcast club. And they can be the manager of your broadcast club team on streamgeeks.com. And I'll show you what we've done at streamgeeks.com to make managing a broadcast club easier. So I'll show you how that works in this webinar. And then we're just going to build on top of the existing live streaming system. So if you have a live streaming system, this is going to be very, very easy. We're going to give each of the students roles, and I'll show you how all that works. And then we can give each of the youth members roles that they can grow into, learning how to be a manager, learning how to be a camera operator, learning how to be a producer, learning how to listen for audio, learning how to communicate and do all these great things. So some of the roles here are the manager, the director, producer, camera operator, audio engineer, graphics operator, lighting designer. All of these roles are available for you to engage students, to collaborate. And I'm going to show you how we can really make this easy for you with an online platform that's totally free called streamgeeks.com. So this is my basic plan at our church, and we're still in the midst of getting this set up. But you can see here, we've got 4 laptops, joystick controller, a streaming computer, And we've basically got room for 6 people. And it's a small classroom that I'm setting this up in currently. But the church benefits from more engaged youth, better broadcasts, and ultimately a stronger community. So it's really, really exciting. I think a broadcast club really fits with the mission at many churches, and it really builds teamwork and will improve ultimately your access to volunteers and the ability to provide these types of opportunities for people at the church. Okay, so streamgeeks.com, we are building a platform for youth broadcast groups, and I'm going to show you how this works. But essentially, you're going to be able to manage your entire broadcast team there. So I'll show you how that works. It's going to really, if you're not, if you don't have any experience creating a broadcast club, it's going to kind of walk you through it and give you the tools that you need. In fact, I will go ahead and pop right over to streamgeeks.com so we can take a peek at this. And essentially, what it does is it allows the people in your organization to choose a role, and essentially you can sign up and join a team. So let me see if I can sign in here. I'll create a new account. And we'll just create a quick little account so I can show you how this works. Let's see if that gets me in here. Okay. Kind of create your profile and everything and tell it a little bit about who you are. And what it does is it allows you to kind of have a profile and have all of like the ability to have points and achievements and a leaderboard so that you can come in and have a team fully managed on the platform. So it's really fun. It's still in beta, so we're rolling this out, and we're definitely looking for your opinions on how to make this better. But essentially, it's an entire space where you can manage your team. There's a chat room. There's like a countdown timer. Keeps everybody involved, and it's a really great way to manage your platform, manage your team. It also allows you to build a knowledge base, so you can build an AV system. So this is something I know a lot of the houses of worship that I work with really enjoy having. They don't have the best organization of the system. So this has a complete knowledge builder in there, and I'll show you how that works. Essentially, you can kind of show students how everything connects. And I feel like this is so important. It allows you to create all of these connections and then have them kind of explained to the people on your team. So it's a really great way to kind of lay out all the pieces of the technology if you want students to be able to, kind of understand what it is that they're contributing to. And I think it's a really important part of the process. There's a little bit of gamification involved in this. So every time that one of the students volunteers and comes in, they will get a point. And the higher levels of achievement and accountability allows them to kind of feel more engaged and kind of reward them for being a part of the program. There's an RSVP system for everyone so that they can make sure they get in on time and everything's ready to go. So the reason why we're building this is to try to help with leadership development, problem solving, organization and planning, and really to try to make the future readiness for youth programs so that they can leave these programs and have some real world skills as well. So I really think it's important. I'm very excited about doing this. And then, as you may know, at the Stream Geeks, we have a lot of educational things already available. So I have this book, Helping Your Church Live Stream, and the students can download all the books. We have this new platform that's going to help with communication, and there's checklists just to make it easy so everyone can contribute, and it's all kind of visible. It's easy to kind of foster students who want to be in the broadcast club to have different roles. One of them might be more intrigued in helping the pastor communicate with people who are online. There's a lot of different options. And ultimately, I think it really helps teach teamwork, production, and service through hands-on learning. So I have my presentation here with a QR code if you'd like to download it. And I wanted to take a moment to kind of show a few of the pieces of technology that we will be adding to the Broadcast Club at my church at First Pres, and kind of showing how this can be beneficial to everyone. So I also want to make sure everyone knows that we're here, we're live. I'm happy to answer questions, but I'm just really just excited to share this and have you guys all here at the Worship Summit. Last time we were here, I was talking about camera placement. So if you've been following along the past couple presentations, two times ago, we talked about where to place cameras in your house of worship. And then the last presentation I did was how to make those camera movements more cinematic and engaging. So over time, we're building this great catalog of tutorials that are all free and educational materials that ideally can help train the next generation of youth worship leaders and all the people that are involved. At our church, we have a great youth program, and I don't know if anyone else has the same problem, but over time, retaining and engaging the youth as they get older, as they're becoming 13, 14 to 15, becomes a little bit more challenging. And I think that a lot of youth programs can really benefit from having a broadcast club. So I'm interested to chat with everybody and see if you've given this a try, if you're interested, because this, I think, can really help expand the youth programs. So with that being said, I wanted to share a little bit about what we are going to be putting into the Broadcast Club. And I have a camera here. Let me see if I can zoom this camera in to show some of the technology that we have here in the studio. I can barely see it, actually, but there's some laptops here. Let me see if I can grab one. I'll bring it over to my desk. Just give me 1 second. So one of the things that we're delivering is we're going to have, these are our renewed laptops on Amazon. And so I think it's about like a 15-inch laptop, but each student in the Broadcast Club is going to get one of these essentially. And it stays at the church. It's going to have it's got a USB-C charger, and it has an Ethernet port. And we purchased about 20 of these to set up a Broadcast Club, our very first Stream Geeks Academy. And now what we're trying to do is split these up into 3 different organizations. One is going to be my church. Another will be a kind of more educational youth program. And then we're going to work with a robotics club. But our goal is to try to help you all expand your youth program. So I hope that's something that you're interested in, because that was essentially what my presentation was on today. Let me see if anyone in the chat has any questions about this. That's essentially what I have. So let me see if there's anything else I can talk about. But that was, I'm happy to answer any questions about this. If there are no questions, then we can cut to our musical presentation. And I think our next, John is asking if he can get access to the past seminars, like where to place the cameras. Yes, let's take a look at that quickly. All of these streams are sent to YouTube. So all of those are there. Let me see if I can find, let me share a link to the one that is the camera placement guide, because that one was really good. So House of Worship camera placement guide. I'll give that link to you guys in the chat. This is what we did this was last presentation. This one was really, I think people really enjoyed this. Let me share the link to this, and I will share my screen to show this quickly. So we always make these available on our YouTube channel. And so what what we went over was in this presentation was kind of where each camera goes and what each camera operator should be thinking about as they are controlling the cameras. And so if you're working with students, this is a really good way to send them a video. This is a 28-minute video. We spent a lot of time on this to show where all the cameras should go. Now, here is another question coming in. Is this a club that meets on Sunday, midweek? How often? This is great. I'm a youth pastor and I love this concept. I also oversee Sunday production. So Alec, this is a perfect example of someone who I think can really benefit from this, because one of the big things that we hear from so many youth pastors and AV managers at churches is that they don't necessarily have enough volunteers. And so what I think that having a club that meets, what we're going to do is we're going to do Sunday mornings. So most youth programs are kind of happening during the traditional service where the parents are at church and the youth are able to go and do a different type of more engaging learning. And so the broadcast club, in my opinion, would happen during the service. So they would be there ideally a half hour before the service to get ready. And then they would help live stream a secondary service. So not the primary service, right? We would probably want the primary, production. The way I look at it and the way we're approaching it, and I'm going to be, creating updates on our progress. The way I look at it is, the main broadcast generally is handled by 1 to 3 to 4 people at most houses of worship. And in many cases, that's a paid position because someone has to come in and handle it and make sure it happens. It's not always, sometimes it's a volunteer position, but it's an important position. And it's almost outside of the broadcast club. In a lot of houses of worship, the live streaming equipment is in the sanctuary. And that becomes a problem when you want to have an educational organization, right? Where when you want to have a broadcast club, that becomes a problem because you want to have a club that where you can talk to the students, where you can chat and communicate. And so having a broadcast club that is a separate room is really important so that you can kind of have that moment and not having it be the main production is also super important in my opinion, because you want to give students the ability to, have a production that's maybe not even streaming anywhere, right? Maybe it's just recording to the computer. You don't want them to be worried about making a mistake. You want them to be engaged in learning. So as long as you have an Ethernet cable, that's the beauty of IP video and NDI and all of this, new technology, is that as long as we have a single Ethernet cable connecting the cameras in the sanctuary to the broadcast club, now the students can start to, have access to those camera video feeds. They can start to mix their own production, and we don't need to run anything other than one Ethernet cable, right? And so I'll be working on all of that and showing how that works soon. So I'm excited about sharing that all with you. I hope that gives you some ideas. And please feel free to email me at paul@PTZOptics.com. I'm going to share this link to the camera placement guide that we did last quarter. And I hope that this has been super helpful for you. We're going to cut to the music and then our next presenter. So I will be available at paul@PTZOptics.com, and I'll hang out in the chat if you have any questions. And then, this is going to be a really fun day. We've got a lot of great presenters, and I'll see you guys soon.
A thousand generations falling down in worship, sing the song of ages to the Lamb. And all who've gone before us, and all who will believe will sing the song of ages to the Lamb.
Your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name stands above them all thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name stands above them all, and the angels cry, holy, oh creation cry, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever.
And if you've been forgiven, if you've been redeemed, sing the song forever to the Lamb. And if you walk in freedom, if you bear His name, sing the song forever to the Lamb. We'll sing the song forever to the Amen.
Angels cry, holy, all creation cry, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever. Hear your people sing, holy, you're the King of Kings, holy, you will always be, holy, holy forever. Your name is the highest, your name is the greatest, your name stands above them all. Oh, all thrones and dominions, all powers and positions, your name, oh, it stands above them all, and the angels cry, holy, all creation cry, holy, you are lifted high, holy, holy forever. Oh, hear your people sing, holy, to the King of Kings, holy, you will always be, holy, holy forever. You will always be, holy.
in December right now, so we got a lot of holiday events, right? We want to know what's going on. Well, we definitely need to be able to communicate the dates, the times, the locations, that pertinent information internally. But what about those people that aren't there on that particular day that that message is being communicated internally? So, real world example right now, right after Thanksgiving, literally the day after Thanksgiving, my wife and my daughter are down with the flu. So we're not able to attend services in person because we just are physically unable to do so because of, we don't want to spread any germs, right? But we still may want to go to that event at the end of the year. So it's very important for that media ministry to share with us the information about that event. So is that, coming across our live streams? Is that going to come across our social media? And let's not forget our email communications and text messages, right? So there are quite a few ways that we can actually communicate internally. Obviously, we have face-to-face communication and say, and our neighbor, says, hey, are you going to come to the event at the end of the year? We have those types of interactions. But the person that is not there physically inside of the four walls, how are they getting this information? We need to be able to communicate that, right? So I believe that it's not only an internal communication that we're responsible for, but it's also that external communication as well. So I'm a very practical person. I'm very much a plus minus red, blue type of person, hot, cold. And so when I look at this slide here, it may seem obvious, but I think sometimes the obvious gets overlooked. It says, who is outside the four walls? So when I'm thinking about how I'm going to communicate outside of the four walls, I need to know who's out there. Who are these people? These could be members that are not in attendance for that particular service. So I kind of give an example of that, right? My family's not feeling well. We're not there. So we're not in that physical building. We have the families and friends of members in attendance. And this is always highlighted when we invite people to come to our ministry. We tell people, hey, can you come and, come? We're having a special event on this fifth Sunday. I know a lot of ministries that I attend on fifth Sunday might be their youth Sunday. So they want to encourage more people to come on those days. And if we want to encourage people to come on those days, that invitee, they may want to see what that service looked like or what went on in that service before. So we could go to a live stream on a previous fifth Sunday and say, hey, look at the kids singing, look at the kid dancing. They're very interactive in the service on this particular day. And it's more of a way, helpful way for people to see what they can experience before they even come inside the four walls, right? We have our local communities. They're very big here in my area. We are very close to our mayor and city council. So the local community sees what we are doing if we put it out there online on social media. We had a situation where the kids were outside. This was back in the summer of last year, matter of fact. And the kids were just outside during service. They had their time and they were throwing the football. And the local police officer, she was patrolling the area. She stopped by and she started throwing footballs with the kids and everything and grabbed a picture of her and the kids throwing the football, put it on social media. And I think we had about 4,000 likes on that picture. It might not sound crazy. It might only sound, oh, 4,000 likes. What does that mean? But it was 4,000 interactions in our local community of people seeing the local sheriff's department interacting with this local ministry. And so those things are definitely noticed by people when they're looking and exploring and trying to figure out what's going on in the community or where they might like to attend services. And then the obvious, one thing I've experienced just from being on the YouTube platform, and I'm sure people, I would love to know where you guys are watching from today. You have people that live around the world, right? Anybody on earth can literally find this YouTube live right now. We could share it out. The algorithm could, push it out to that right person, and people could start watching from around the world. You never know who's watching. So what are we communicating through these different platforms, through these different avenues? What are we communicating, right? Okay, I see Canada, New Jersey. Go Dogs. We'll skip over that one, Mark. Uh, Many of our users are former members who have moved away. Yep. It keeps old friends in touch. Absolutely. Absolutely, Wayne. Germany. I was born in Germany. What's going on, Dr. Ajay Holmes? I know he's speaking later today. Belgium. See what I'm saying? Like we're from all across the world, which is amazing. And we as ministries can put our put our live streams, put our communities, put our churches, put our synagogues, put ourselves out there, right? So what are we communicating? Our missions, our visions, our values, right? Now more than ever should be a time where we're promoting positivity, respect, fellowship, community, building each other up. What are these different things that we're doing in services that we can put on social media that shows people, hey, we are doing something positive, right? And one of the things I know how when I saw Dr. AJ Holmes on here, I know one of the things that we talk about consistently is it's not just that speaking part of the service where the minister or the preacher is up at the front. It's these other aspects of service that we as media ministries, I believe, need to do a little bit better job. I'm talking to myself as well. How can we showcase more of what's going on in those holiday parties or just the simple interactions before service and after service? One of the pastor friends of mine, he is very, very engaged with taking selfies with his members after services and posting those on his social accounts, and they get more interaction than he does his preaching services. So it should tell us something. Hey, people actually like seeing the fact that you are relatable, like you're approachable. And he gets a lot of respect in his church because of the fact that people feel they can come up to him and just simply talk to him. And he's not just giving a message across the pulpit, right? So what are we communicating when we're putting our content on social media and on these different platforms? Now, if anybody's familiar with this, let me know in the comment, and I'll give you a second to read this. Um, SMART goals. If anybody's familiar with SMART goals, go ahead and put that in the chat. I'll take a little bit more time on here if people aren't familiar with these SMART goals or haven't used these SMART goals, but I'm highly interested to see what you guys have experienced with using SMART goals. Even if it's your personal work, not even ministry, but your work, 9 to 5 job, your business, SMART goals, right? Dan's from Anchorage, Alaska. I got family up in Anchorage. Dan, good to see you here as well. Let me not call out everybody because I don't want anybody to feel like I've missed them out, but I definitely see all your comments. All right. So Greg says very much used in business a lot. John, yep, heard of it, use it a bit. All right, cool. One of the things I'd really like and to have introduced into my ministry are SMART goals. Now, earlier at the beginning of this presentation, I talked about the fact that I attend typically smaller churches. So volunteers are very slim, especially with media ministry, because you all know that we do a lot. We don't have to talk about the audio, the video, the troubleshooting, the testing, the setting up new equipment, the re-troubleshooting, the we do a lot in our media ministries, right? And sometimes it's a one-person operation, sometimes it's two. Sometimes I know people that are the preacher and the tech support at their own ministry. So this is why I like SMART goals because we don't have to over leverage ourselves and burn ourselves out if we implement some SMART goals. So these are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. As much as I would like to do even more at our ministries, I know my capacity, especially when you have family and you have other obligations and you actually do want to be a part of this thing we call life. So I'm going to go through these and I'll use a couple of examples here. We'll go through this rather quickly here, but specific goals. What do you want to accomplish? Well, we'll say next year, 2026. Do you actually want to live stream consistently? Do you even have the manpower, the woman power to, or the kid power to even live stream consistently? Set a goal that's actually specific so that you can actually achieve this goal. Measurable. How are we going to be able to measure the fact that we're able to actually do this thing? Achievable. That's the part that I think if we had more time, I would stay quite a while on is are you being realistic in this, right? Yes, we want to create 50 TikTok shorts for our church to show everything, but is that realistic that we can push that out every single week with that one volunteer that we have? Now, sometimes we might have to take this back to our leadership and say, hey, I know this is what you want, but at capacity, Monty can only hold but so much. So rather than doing 50, and I know 50 is a great number, let's start with two a week because I can control two a week and I can be consistent at two a week. Because if I fall off doing 50 a week and all of a sudden that I don't do any, or I just want to go and take a vacation, or maybe I want to go visit another ministry to see how they're doing things and kind of learn from them, or maybe I want to go to a conference about media ministry and there's no one else there to pick up the slack or knows how to do it, then it's going to fall off. And we all know that once you stop doing something for one Sunday or two Sundays or three Sundays, then it kind of just stops getting done altogether. And there goes our consistency out the window, right? Relevant. Every ministry is different. Some people, are some ministries are a little bit older. Some ministries are a little bit younger. And I'm talking about an age, right? So the younger ministries, they may prefer to watch just short form content. And if that's the case, maybe we sit back and evaluate, hey, do we really need to live stream our service? Or maybe we just focus all of our team efforts on just producing short form content because we only have, two people. So if we just do all short form content, maybe this is what they're relating to come into the ministry. Or maybe their ministry is a little bit older where, people may be in the hospital a little bit more than they want to, or maybe there's people in nursing homes, or maybe there's people that are incarcerated that just cannot attend for whatever reason. And that's your vision. Remember, we talked about vision at the beginning of this. If that's your vision, then maybe we need to spend more time on live streaming and making that the best production we possibly can. Maybe we can just set the YouTube shorts and the TikTok shorts over to the side for now and just focus on this area because we can actually measure this, we can actually do this, and we can actually not burn ourselves out in the process, right? Hope that that slide was helpful to somebody. Identify your resources, right? Who do we have? Do we have paid people that are here to support us? Do we have employees, contractors, volunteers? One of the things here, being close to local college, is you have a lot of colleges that are looking for different internships, looking for different things that they can put on their resume when they get ready to graduate. Reach out to these colleges and say, hey, if you want to be involved in ministry, and especially if you want to be involved in communications or IT or any of these fields that make sense, that have that good alignment, those college interns can come in, and if you have those systems in place and those workflows in place, say, hey, we'd love to get you trained up on this part of our workflow, and you can support us there. So it's a great thing to be involved in the community. And when you build these relationships with the local college, they'll reach out to you and say, hey, we got these students that may want to come through. Excuse me, still dealing with the remnants of this flu here. um, I love the ability for us to be able to produce this online and virtual sometimes, right? Your resources, hardware resources. What equipment do you actually have? Paul was showing earlier, refurbished equipment. It works great. You don't have to go buy the latest and greatest to produce something. What software are you using? Is it too complicated for people to even learn? Or do you have a software that can get the job done and people can actually learn it and pick it up and not feel overwhelmed by it, right? Capabilities, knowledge gaps. We want to fill these knowledge gaps as best as possible. Um, Time capacity. As a media ministry, again, we know that we do a lot. We can't not do everything as much as we try. So what can you do in the time that you have allotted, right? Focus on these things and be the best at those. Obviously, we know the different platforms that we can um, show up on, live stream on. One of the newer ones that I've even been playing with personally is the new TikTok Studio, because these are different outlets. These are different free outlets that we can communicate our message on. Content delivery, okay? Real time, I think live streaming, I think manual, I think How do I go into DaVinci Resolve and cut up a clip manually and put it out there because it's going to be a great clip? And then I also think about content calendars. We already know certain things are going to show up every single year on the calendar, right? Every single year we do a back to school event, right? Every single year we do an Easter celebration. Every single year there are events that happen in our ministries. I highly encourage you to go to leadership before the end of this year and ask them for a calendar of events that run through 2026. This way, it allows us to plan a lot better as a media ministry. We can create those graphics ahead of time and not 5 minutes before service starts. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, say amen in the chat. Okay. All right. Couple slides here and we will wrap it up here. Different content types. We have videos, we have images, we have text, we have audio. Podcasts are a great thing. I personally just released a couple podcast episodes of talking to other ministers, right? We're just having these normal conversations. And one of the conversations that I had with a particular minister was about the fact that we have very limited support for special needs children. And it was never something that I've really heard about growing up in ministry or even seen in my local ministries. But talking to him on a podcast, we were talking about his son with special needs. And I was like, whoa, this is a gap. There's no one really like talking about how can we help the special needs children and adults that are coming to church and they may need some extra resources. They may need screens that expand the text so they can actually view and read and follow along. Maybe they actually need a space that's dedicated to them as well. Maybe they need a Sunday that's dedicated to them as well. So having an audio podcast even enlightened me to just these different conversations that we don't typically have in a regular service. But if we open up our thoughts of what we can do in ministries, we can expand what we do and bring a little bit more knowledge to it. And I think we can be helpful to some people. So explore podcasts, behind the scenes content. One of the things I would love to do if I had time capacity would be to follow my pastor around for like a week and do one of those videos, a day in the life of our pastor. You know, people love these behind the scenes types of content because they can follow along with it and they can kind of see the journey. We have sermon clips, different events, capture all of that as well. So I'm going to leave you with this as I get ready to jump off of here. I think I'm over my time. For some reason, my clock has stopped working. What is one thing you could potentially eliminate from your strategy right now, your reach strategy? What is something that you're doing as your team that you guys know that you're kind of pushing yourself and it's not quite working? It's not measurable. It's not achievable. What is one of those things? And then also, what is something that you can actually improve in your reach strategy? What is something that we can do to implement in our own personal ministries that we think would be effective and actually help us in our overall outreach? So I appreciate you guys for listening and my time, and my apologies for going over. If you want to connect with me, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on Amazon. And again, thank you for PTZOptics and this summit for allowing me to come back again. And I appreciate your time. And I will pass it back over to the host.
All my words fall short. I've got nothing new. How could I express all my gratitude? I could sing this song as I often do. Every song must end, and you never do. So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again. 'cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I'm nothing else fit for a king, except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah.
I've got one response. I've got just one move. With my arms stretched wide, I will worship you.
So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again, 'cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I'm nothing else fit for a king, except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah.
Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song, 'cause you've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song, 'cause you got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song, 'cause you got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Oh, it's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath, God, in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great are you, Lord.
So I throw up my hands, praise you again and again, 'cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I'm nothing else fit for a king, except for heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hey there, my name is Jake Gosselin. I am pumped to be here at Worship Summit Live. And in this training workshop, I want to show you what is possible when you start running your entire audio, video, and lighting system over a network. Here at Rock Harbor Church, we were able to make a pretty significant upgrade by transitioning everything to be IP-based. And you're going to see how this cleans up your system. It also makes it even more powerful and capable. So I'm really excited to dive into the training today and to show you all the ins and outs. So as you look around this space here, this building was built 40 years ago, and like many churches that we work in these days, they just weren't designed for modern AV. And not only from an acoustical perspective or a lighting perspective, but also just when it comes to the infrastructure of the building, when it comes to having cable runs from one place to another, this space was not designed to have the conduit that one would need to run low voltage cabling for audio lines, video lines, DMX lines from the rack room behind stage or the storage room behind stage to our front of house. Also, you'll notice at this portion in the back of the room here, there really is no tech booth. Of course, we could always go down the route of having a construction process to build one, but we're also kind of tight on space in this room here at Rock Harbor Church. We don't want to give up the precious seating space because we are a growing church. We're at capacity. We want to make sure we have room for as many people as possible. And we're actually going to even be switching out these pews here for normal seats that it's going to maximize the amount of people who can sit in here. So when you walk around the back of the room, you'll notice, okay, here's what I would call our tech booth over here. And it's really not much of a booth. We don't have a separate platform. This is really just a simple table that we made off of Amazon. We got a tabletop, and then we got some legs attached to the bottom here. And there's really not much going on. And we got 1, 2, 3 workstations. We've got an audio workstation here. We've got our computer graphics Pro Presenter workstation. And then we have our video workstation. I'm going to dive into all 3 of these to help you understand what we've got going on, what's set up. But look at the table itself. If you come around here and look underneath the table, there's really not a whole lot going on down here, right? So there's no computers under here. The cabling is pretty limited. It's a really clean setup. We don't even have a table skirt. Everything's just kind of buttoned up nicely underneath these tables here. So what's cool is we had to navigate our unique challenges here at Rock Harbor with limited space. We have no infrastructure for cabling and conduit to run all of our lines from our control workstations here to all the equipment that's on stage or the racks that we have behind the rack room. But I think what we were able to do here in the solutions that we built could be applicable to any church situation to a certain degree, depending on how far down this road you want to go, what type of budget you have to work with. We've been using this setup, this iteration of the setup for over a month now, and it has been a game changer. Really pleased with the results so far. So I'm excited to kind of dive into the weeds of this with you to kind of show you what's happening. So this is the tech booth area, and I want to show you one more area just so you have a kind of a full picture of the space. Over here, we have our little closet behind the stage, altar, whichever word you want to use there. It's actually kind of like a little office space here for our pastor. Here are the equipment racks. So this is like the bulk of the infrastructure of our system. We have an equipment rack here for we have computers in here, we have video infrastructure in here, lighting infrastructure, and then this one is all audio. So the key to making all this possible with what you see, with having such a lean tech booth out there and very little cabling, it's all has to do with the network backbone that's happening and being able to pass all of our audio, video, lighting data over network instead of having to have point-to-point connections everywhere, which can get really messy. I'll show you another aspect of our infrastructure here to kind of help you grasp what all's happening. So come back to the tech booth. You'll see this little like cable raceway right here along the floor. Since we don't have conduit or proper cable pathways to get from our tech booth to the rack room, we actually have 3 data lines that run from the tech booth along this back wall to the rack room. And you can see the 3 of them, they're coming out of here. So they go under this little cable keeper that we've got on the floor. And then they're coming out here. This is the loom of cabling. You're actually gonna see 3 of them are making the run all the way from the tech booth to the rack room back there. One of these cables just goes to a camera that's actually up on the wall behind me. And then another one is another trunk line on the network, this single one here that goes to another network switch over there. Prior to this setup, I counted it, we had like 24 cables going from this tech booth to the back rack room. And that was before we had this entire infrastructure built on a really strong network backbone. So we reduced our cable clutter massively. We made our cable raceways nice and clean, and we only have, like I said, 3 cables on our main trunk line. Those 3 cables being 2 of them dedicated for our main trunk between the network switch here at the tech booth table and the main network switch we have back in the rack room. So that's what 2 of these are for. And then one of them is a dedicated line for our audio S-Link connection. So that's audio over a CAT cable that goes from our mixing console here back to the stage box that's on stage. And those are the 3 data connections that run everything for audio, video, and lighting control. So how are we able to do this? Well, it all starts with having the right network infrastructure. Let me show you what this all looks like here. I can show you on our Unify site manager software, the topology of what all's happening. So I've got my laptop here. So right now we're looking at Site Manager, which is a web-based software where I'm able to view our network setup, and this is where I can control everything and how we set up and configure our networks, our router, our network switches, because everything, all the data goes through this network, and this is the important foundation of everything that we've got going here. So when you look at this topology here, it's a little bit overwhelming. You're seeing a combination of all of our Unify switches, as well as all the devices, the client devices plugged into them. Client devices being computers, cameras, Dante audio devices, anything else that needs a network connection. All of our NDI decoders, I'll get into that as well. So looking at this topology here, at the top of it, you have Spectrum Business. That's our internet service provider. So that's the beginning of that's our internet connection. Then the first device under that is going to be our router. This is the UDM, or the Unified Dream Machine. This is a router, and all it is in charge of doing is managing our networks and handing out IP addresses to all of the various devices. In the Unify world, you can have a separate access point then from your router. An access point, or wireless access point, is a little antenna that goes on the wall to broadcast Wi-Fi for all the networks. Underneath this Dream Machine, we then have our first Unify switch, the USW, in ER01, Equipment Rack 1. So this switch is like the first layer of switching that we have within this topology here. And from this switch, we are trunking to some other switches. So you actually have our switch in the rack here, then we have our switch that's at front of house. That's what FOH stands for. So that's a 48-port switch that's under the workstations at front of house that I showed you there. And then we also have another switch here. This one is on the stage here behind me. So we have a switch there. That one's a 24-port. Then we have another switch that is in production equipment rack 2, which is the second rack backstage. And those are the main trunk lines coming off of that first switch. Then off of the front of house switch in the tech booth, we have a trunk line that goes to our entry door. So if you look over here at this entry door and you look up on the wall, we have devices like TVs and cameras. we have a network switch right under the clock up there, and that gets all the connections to those devices there. So that's how we have one network cable that goes from front of house on the bottom of the floor, up a raceway, and up to that switch up there. And then from that switch there, we have another trunk line that goes along the back wall, through the wall, into the lobby, where it goes into another smaller UniFi switch out there. So being able to trunk these switches together really keeps our cable runs clean and simple, the way we have them surface mounted throughout the building here. And again, this is a way to be able to do surface mount cable runs in a space that we don't have the actual infrastructure for conduit and such to run cable from one place to another, which is very common in a lot of churches. So then underneath each of these switch devices here, you can see all of the different client devices that are plugged into them. Like you've got at our front of house switch, you have our Avantis sound console, the control connection there for controlling the console. We've got the Avantis Dante card connection there. We've got our KVM receivers. We've got stream decks. We got PTZ controllers. We've got another KVM receiver. And this is important. Whenever our team is setting up our network infrastructure in UniFi, we go through and actually label everything so we know exactly what we're looking at when we're going into Site Manager here. So that's step one of what I'm going to walk you through with our system, is really making sure you have the right network infrastructure in place. Because in modern AV, pretty much all devices now are going to talk to each other over a network. So with UniFi, we recommend starting with the UDM Pro, that's the Dream Machine Pro for your router. That's going to control all of the networks on your local area network, or your VLANs, because you can set those up. And then you're going to have the switches. We like using the USW Pro switches. That gives us the most flexibility for setting up those virtual local area networks for control, Dante, NDI. We like to isolate all those things, our KVM network. And it really helps, again, make sure you're not having different devices interfere with one another. And you can dedicate the connections to different computers and different ports on computers to specific networks with those network interface cards. I know it all sounds a little bit overwhelming. We do have a whole training on Networking 101 at churchfront.com. You can check out if you want to go down this path some more. But I just want to help you understand that networking is so crucial to modern AV systems, and especially if you're setting one up for your church. The more you can leverage it, the more powerful your system's going to be, and you're going to be able to operate and troubleshoot things quickly. So in addition to the UDM router and then the switches, you'll want to have some access points. So then you can have the actual Wi-Fi being broadcast in your space. So I can pull up my phone app or my computer, and I can just wirelessly log into the system like you are seeing me do right now. So once the network infrastructure is set up and you've plugged everything in, you've made all your cable runs, this is where in the UniFi software you can actually go in and you can set up your VLANs. VLANs are a way to create, think of them as kind of sub-networks within your one main network here. So in our system here, we have quite a few VLANs going on. We have the default network. So this is the one where you have the IP subnet 192.168.0. That's the common default networking IP scheme you'll get with a lot of any networking gear that you buy. Sometimes it's 192, or in a business environment, you might have a 10.1.0, whatever that IP scheme is as well. Underneath that, we have the KVM network on 192.168.10. We have our control network on VLAN ID 20, so 192.168.20. Streaming ACN on .30, 192.168.30. We have Dante on 40, SoundGrid on 50, NDI on 60, and so on. We got a lot going on for these VLANs here. So our programmer here at Churchfront was able to go through and configure these all properly, so then all the devices are going to play well together on the network. So that's enough nerding out over the network itself. Now I just want to show you practically what's possible and the benefits we're getting here. Let's first start with Audio World, and let's head on back to the tech booth here. I'll kind of show you some of the benefits that we've got going on. So the first primary benefit with running everything over the network is we've got Dante audio capability. Dante is a protocol that allows you to send multi-channel audio over a network from your various devices that have a Dante card installed in them. So it's very much an industry standard device. You can get them for a lot of different mixing consoles. You can run a Dante app on your computer. So now I can send up to, and this one is 64 by 64 channels of audio in and out of this console over Dante. So what we're doing in this space is once the audio gets into the console from the stage box over S-Link, I told you about that connection earlier, we can process audio and then it's going to be sent to our PA system over Dante. So we don't have any analog cables coming out of this console. It actually just goes over the network and it goes into our audio processing device, or our digital sound processing device, the DSP, which is the AHM by Allen & Heath. And then from there, the AHM takes in the Dante audio, it processes it. That's how we tuned our PA system. And then over some analog audio lines, that's from the processor backstage to the speakers. That's how we get audio to the speakers. Another practical use case for Dante audio is we have a speaker in the lobby for people to hear what's going on in the lobby. In here, we can send a dedicated mix for that speaker. That speaker is powered by the Ethernet port on the switch it's plugged into with PoE, power over Ethernet, and then it's getting data for audio over the Dante connection. So it's just a super clean setup. We can send audio wherever we need it if there's a network connection. So that's the primary benefit of using Dante in a system. And one other big benefit is all of our computers have Dante plugged into them. So on like this computer, I can pull up an application called Dante Controller. So Dante Controller is a way where we can actually patch all of our audio from our various devices to other devices. So if I went here from my Avantis and I wanted to patch it to a computer, I could do that here. Or here, I would actually go from my transmitter. If it was my production Mac Mini and I want to patch it into my Avantis, I can do that as well. See what channels this one's patched on. So here I have my ROX Mac Mini computer. I can patch audio out of the application on the computer, the Dante Virtual Sound Card app, over the network into my Avantis. So I'm hearing audio from the Avantis from the computer without having to plug in like an auxiliary jack or anything like that. So audio over the network it's just a huge, huge benefit in a church production setting. But then, we're here at Worship Summit Live, and a lot of it's about video, especially PTZOptics cameras. We're using 3 PTZOptics cameras in this space. You can actually see them here on the multi-view if you want, but we've got camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. They give us some great perspectives of the room, the image quality, the color, all of it looks great, looks super sharp. We're using the PTZOptics Move SE and then the PTZOptics 4Ks as well. And then we got the joystick controller here. Everything, the cameras and the joystick controller, they're all on the network. And then we're using the NDI feature on those cameras to get the video signal from the cameras to our equipment racks into our ATEM switcher. The ATEM doesn't have NDI built in, but we have NDI decoders that take an NDI signal on the network and they convert them to SDI to get into our video switcher. And this I've actually been really pleased with the results. It gives us a ton of flexibility in the system. We did make a decent investment into the amount of NDI decoders and encoders that we have in the setup. But again, the goal is to keep it all very clean and make it very flexible for how we want to get video from any video source to any video destination. So that's another massive benefit of having a strong network that can handle all of the video signals. And this is where it's important too to have a high bandwidth network. Our trunk lines between switches have at least a 10 gigabit connection. And what's nice with NDI-HX coming from these cameras and the NDI encoders that we use is that you can select between some more efficient ways of processing NDI to make sure you're not choking out the available bandwidth on your network and experiencing issues where the NDI connection is lagging or breaking up or just not be able to make it through. So we're using NDI on the cameras as input sources for video, but then when you look around our room, we have these, actually, I don't have to go very far. Even this monitor right here, this multi-view, is pulling an NDI feed from the network, and this NDI feed is coming from a encoder we have in the rack that is taking a multi-view output from the ATEM, puts it on the network, and then it sends it to this monitor here. So we don't have to have a dedicated SDI run from our ATEM to the tech booth here. It can happen over the network. It gets decoded here, and now we can see whatever we want to see here on the multi-view. We also have other TVs and displays in the room getting signal from the NDI network. So up here we have a confidence monitor TV, and then we have a preview of our computer graphics. The bottom one shows the same content on our side screens up on stage. And once again, we're taking a video signal. Let's talk about the stage display. Well, actually for both of them, they go out of ProPresenter, out of a DeckLink card. ProPresenter does have NDI out built into it. I don't trust it that much. I don't have a lot of great experience with that. I'd rather send the signal out of ProPresenter with a DeckLink video card. From there it goes into our ATEM switcher, and then from the switcher I have the flexibility to take that signal, send it to an NDI encoder, and then there I can send it anywhere on the network. So that's what we're doing here. That's how we get content to those screens. Also, the screens on stage here, these LED screens, those are also using NDI decoders. So I actually have 2 decoders, 2 video signals going to each side. One video signal goes to each side, so 2 of them total. And this is getting, these are actually getting a signal directly from NDI out of ProPresenter, another machine running ProPresenter. And again, gives us a ton of flexibility. So basically, I have one NDI decoder back here. It pulls power and data off the network switch we have on stage, and then from there these 3 screens are daisy chained together, and everything's mapped properly for the LED screens to get that image on it the way you see it there. The other screens we have up here for the projectors, those are just getting an SDI connection out of the video switcher, because we did the downside about NDI decoders and using NDI, you do have a little bit more latency, and I wanted to eliminate as much latency as possible for these screens that the congregation is seeing. Again, a lot of latency we're seeing is very, very minimal, especially when you get the encoders all configured properly. But for this one, we didn't really need to do the NDI runs. But if we wanted to have more flexibility to route whatever video signal to these screens, I could pop some encoders up there, connect them to the network. It would give us even more flexibility. So come on back here into the rack room again, and you'll see a lot of these encoders and decoders that we've got set up here in the equipment rack. So if you look down here, we've got our ATEM video switcher. This is what does all of our video switching. And then here we have all of these KiloView encoders and decoders. So some of these KiloViews, we have 4, 8, 12 of them total. 3 of them are taking a video signal from our NDI PTZOptics cameras, encodes them or decodes them into SDI to get to the switcher. And then a lot of these other ones will take an output from the switcher, encode it to the NDI network, so then we can then send that content to our nursery TV, our lobby TV, the confidence monitor TVs that I showed you. Very, very powerful. So that's the power and capability you have when you have a robust network infrastructure for your video setup, is specifically using NDI. The other major benefit of the network setup we have here is the KVMs, and this is another reason why our workstations are so clean. So if you look underneath, these are some audio computers that I've got going here. This is our computer graphics computer. This is a computer that runs waves for audio processing, and I actually didn't even mention that earlier when we were doing the audio over networking. Not only do we have Dante over networking, but we also have waves over the network too. And that's just, I don't want to get in the weeds of waves right now, but it's a whole other similar type of protocol to Dante to send audio from one place to another, have it be processed, and then send it back to your console to have like really good sounding audio. So that's on the network. Under that, we have the Adderlink XD-IP KVM nodes. These are really cool. These nodes allow us to connect USB and video to a computer, like these two computers I have here. So now I can put another node anywhere in the building on the network, and then I can control that computer. If I have a keyboard, monitor, and a mouse, I can plug them into the other node, and I don't have to have the computer at that location. The computer stays here. It gets the USB and the video data over the network, and with zero latency, I can control that computer remotely from the building. But then let's go back to the tech booth, and I'll show you the power of this specific type of KVM, because some KVMs, you can run them to be just like KVM extenders, like point-to-point extenders. That's a good budget way to do it. Those run about $200 a piece. But the setup we have with AdderLink, each one of these nodes, it can either be a transmitter or a receiver, and they're $600. So we have 3 computers back there. So we have $1,800 of AdderLinks back there. Might be closer to $700. And then we have 3 receiving nodes on this end of the tech booth here, mounted underneath the table. So now when I'm working at these computer workstations, I can actually bring up any one of those 3 computers because it's all on the network. So here I got some key commands where if I do control option 1, it's going to bring up our audio computer that runs our Waves sound grid for processing audio. If I do control option 2, it's going to bring up our ProPresenter computer, and then control option 3, it's going to bring up our other computer that runs ATEM control software. Usually we have them set up so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. But as I'm working, or if I'm troubleshooting something on a Sunday, it just makes it super flexible for me to get to any workstation. I can be like, oh, I need to fix something on ProPresenter real quick. I can just pull that up. If I go Command Option C, I can actually get into the settings of the AdderLink, and I can program this however I want. I can rename my channels and my computers. I can add more. So this ecosystem of KVMs, I think, does up to 16 different nodes. So it really gives you the ability. I don't think there's any church situation where I can think of where you need more than that. I also like to have one of these set up in my rack room, so then I can be troubleshooting computers back there and not having to walk back and forth between the tech booth and the rack room so much. So that's just another one of my favorite benefits of using KVMs with a very robust network. I'll also speak to the benefits of using these stream decks here, kind of similar for controlling things. These stream decks, you can do all sorts of things with stream decks to control cameras, to control video switchers, to control really any device out there on a network. And these stream decks are actually using the Stream Deck network dock to then connect to everything that we want to control with them on the network. Super clean setup. That's a newer device that Elgato came out with, so you don't have to have the Stream Deck plugged into USB to a computer. It can just do it over the network. So I know I covered a lot. It can be really overwhelming because I'm even overwhelmed, even though I set this all up. We just talked through a ton of different systems going on here. The foundation is always going to be the network infrastructure. Like I said before, we recommend Unify because it's a proven, really robust system. It's also really easy to use. You don't have to have a huge history of being an IT manager to understand and navigate it. You can definitely check out the trainings we have at churchfront.com to learn more about getting started with the foundational principles of networking. But then setting it up is simple because you're just running a few data cables, terminating them, programming the Unify infrastructure, and then from there, you can just have a really robust foundation for audio, video, lighting, KVMs, NDI, anything else you want to run over that network infrastructure. I hope you guys found this workshop helpful today. Thanks so much for tuning in to Worship Summit Live. Thanks to the team at PTZOptics for inviting me to be a part of this. If you'd like to learn more about these systems and solutions, just go to churchfront.com. You can easily reach out to my team. We have training videos there. We have in-depth online courses. We've got lots of free content on the website. And then we also do full turnkey AVL design and integration specifically for churches. We are working at churches all around the country and helping, number one, design the right solutions for the various types of churches we work at, and then fulfilling everything that needs to happen in terms of the procurement, the assembly, the project management. It's a full-on construction project when you start doing projects like this and making these things happen. So we'd love to hear more about your upcoming project or upgrade. The sooner you reach out to us, the better, because these things take time when you're professionally designing and building an AV system for your church. That's all I got for you today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right, are y'all able to hear me? Hello, everybody. I am enjoying the Worship Summit. And again, my name is AJ. It says Dr. AJ, whatever. I go by AJ, the CEO. Again, I want to just, before I even get started, thank you so much, Paul, Tess, everybody at PTZOptics for even just having an opportunity and y'all reaching out to let me share and teach here. So we've got a lot of good information that's going on so far, and I don't want to belabor the point. Let's get in here and let's talk about your broadcast network. So we've been talking about a lot of products and equipment, setups, everything that's that's offered with your ministry. But I want to remind you of why we're doing all of this. We're not just buying extra cameras and all this other stuff, doing computers, networks, and all this other stuff just to be getting it. It's about sharing the gospel. And what I like to encourage y'all is that with the equipment, and when you're live streaming, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, that you have a international broadcast network. And I think we need to start leveraging that at a higher level because you have your own television network. So real quick, a little bit about me. I am Ajay Holmes. I am a preacher's kid. I've been a musician for over 40 years at churches. I am a United States Marine, retired a while ago. I'm an IT professional, been in IT, working for Dell, a bunch of clients like GSA, MetLife, Verizon Wireless, Toys R Us when they were still around, Deloitte, KPMG, all this other stuff. Got 30 years of IT experience, programming, all this other stuff. I also run an AV integrations company that we're going to be celebrating 10 years next year. And you can find me on YouTube under AJ the CEO. That's enough about me. Let's get to some other stuff that we're talking about. So your broadcast network, I know you might be streaming and doing other stuff with your church, but I need you to broaden your mindset on what you can actually do with your stuff. Whether you're still streaming with a webcam or you got a $250,000 camera, it does not matter. It does not matter. You can do more with what you got. So I don't want you to feel like, oh, I don't have this. I don't have a fog machine. That does not matter. The content is what matters. So right now, your church has access to 8 billion people that are hungry for content. And if you've been watching content, people are watching the content for its substance, not for if it's 4K, 8K, 12K, and you got it. That does not matter. Don't let that be a distraction from you creating content that reaches people to share the message. That's what it's all about. So just like we can do more than our church service. The average church, I just finished coming from a church yesterday to help them do an install and upgrade their stuff, that they're doing services, but there's so much more that you can do than just broadcast your services and your Bible study or whatever. That's what we're talking about. You have a television network. Now, I'm 48. So when I grew up, Fox back in the day when I was in high school, they were known with showing nothing but cops. And that's what church is. Right now, if you're just doing your service, you're producing one show on your television network when you have 24 hours every day to create whatever type of content that you want. So one of the things I say, like I said, we have the opportunity to offer different forms of content that suits your viewers 24/7, not just sermons, but other types of content. And hopefully I want to kick off your imagination on what other things that you can do. So what's important first about your services, and this builds your broadcast network. I need you to think just like the television shows or whatever that you watch. What are the things that you need to do with all your content, especially your services? They need to be consistent. They need to start on time. They need to always be at a certain time. Pick your specific platform, because I know Monty talked about this as well. Don't put your content, the same content, on every single platform, because it's not applicable. No one is going to sit and watch a 2-hour-long TikTok on their phone or their tablet. You have to mine the platform, and that's why we create different content from your broadcast network with all the equipment that you have, your PTZ cameras, your phones. All of that stuff can be repurposed, because that's the same stuff that a studio has. That's what you have with your ministry. You need to review your stuff, because are you putting out quality? Because you can throw anything out there, but if you're not even wanting to watch it yourself, how do you expect anybody else to watch it? Don't assume, and always do your best. I didn't say buy the best. I said do your best. All right. So honestly, as a YouTube content creator, if you look online, there's only 4 categories. Actually, it's 3, but 4 categories of how your content needs to be made. Those content is either educational, entertainment, makes you feel good, or drama. Because a lot of times people go to YouTube University content or whatever, and they want to be educated. This is a mindset of coming out with different forms of content. Have an education standpoint of it. Have an entertainment. This is where, like, kind of Monty and other people were talking about it, behind the scenes, going into the life of the day of your pastor or whatever. When you're doing community outreach, that's a mixture. The more you mix these type of strategies together, the more you can reach more people. So you have edutainment, so that's education and entertainment. You also have feel good, that can be education or entertainment. And I don't really deal with this much, but this is the content. It's the drama. What's drama? Where you have so much bad stuff going on that you watch it because subconsciously you're like, man, their life isn't as bad as mine. I don't like leaning on that. I like doing hopeful stuff. So your church can, I personally say, lean in the top 3 of when you're making whatever content that you make. All right. So what are some content trends that your ministry can use with the equipment that you already have? I'm not going to try and sell you or tell you to buy anything new. You already got everything that you need. So what's other things that you can do? Because again, you have 8 billion people who are already hungry right now. They're already looking for stuff, and you haven't created anything. So it's not about you. It's about getting in line, setting up your store in the mall where there are already 8 billion people there. You can set your stuff up and people are going to come. So what are some content you can do? Let me just give you some ideas. I do a Q&A session every Friday. That's one. Imagine doing that with your ministry, answering basic biblical questions. That's not a lecture. That's not a sermon. It's getting to the point. You can also have a morning prayer. I know my friend Elder Kyle, he does a morning, and even Pastor Paul, he does a morning manna where it's just starting your day 5 minutes with prayer. You have other people that the church can host a fitness class. You can do podcasts. It's about being creative with what you got, because all of these are trends right now. People are already doing it. Why not use your creative juices to do something with a spin from your ministry, so that now you're creating more content, so people are engaging with your ministry more, and they have more access to being able to hear the gospel and see, not just hear another sermon, but see a sermon in how you act. Again, on my YouTube, I teach videos. I'm not preaching the Bible, but you can see the light in me. That's what it's about. We don't need more people preaching a sermon. We need more people showing and living a sermon. And we talked about audio podcasts. Other people, unfortunately, right now, everybody can't attend service. So why not set up an audio podcast as either for your sermon or different topics, so that people that are working, that are driving or whatever can listen? Again, you have a broadcast network. You can create more than just sermons. You can create shorts. You can create audio only, video, whatever, so that people can get that information that they're already hungry for. So again, I'm just throwing ideas to remind you that what you have your hands on. You have access to 8 billion people. What more can you do outside of just church services, Bible studies? All right. So again, the broadcast mindset, again, you have 8 billion people. You have an opportunity of making multiple forms of content. And this is more important. The content is made for your audience, not for you. A lot of churches focus on making a content that's comfortable for them. It's not about being comfortable for you. It's about ministering to the people at their needs. So if you're not comfortable with making shorts, but if that's what everybody is watching, you need to grow and evolve. It said we become many things for, I'm not even going to get into the scripture with y'all, but I hope y'all know where I'm going with that. All right. And one thing I recommend, it's not one thing to find another ministry and just copy them. We were called to stand out, not to fit in. There's something unique about you and your ministry that is ordained to reach other people that I'm never going to reach. And that's what I want to encourage you to be. Yeah, you can get some inspiration from other people, but be uniquely you. Don't be a second class somebody else. Be a first class you. And that's what it's at. Your ministry and you can reach people that I'm never supposed to reach because you have a unique ability to reach them, and your ideas and your content coming from your ministry, whether it be a church building ministry or an individual, because we all individually have a ministry, can reach other people. That's what I want to encourage you for. Now, with that content, think of it as evergreen content. The content you can make, not just your service that people just watch one time. I'm going to throw out an idea that I've been telling my community for a long time. So please steal this opportunity. What's evergreen content? Content that will last no matter the time that people watch it. A lot of people, I've been in church my entire life, but a lot of people have never read the Bible from beginning to end. Why not set up a live stream every single day where you're reading through the Bible and you put that as a playlist so that now you can build a community, people come together and they can share in the comments and they're now reading the Bible through the entire year. Evergreen content is you only got to read through the Bible once and now you have those videos up that now is a primer, it's a class, it's a course that people can join in. And if people are in the comments, you can say, hey, if this is your second year around reading through the Bible, leave it down in the comments, encourage those other people. These are the type of content that's not a sermon that people are hungry for, that you can also do. So again, I'm meant to just encourage you and throw out different ideas that you can do from your ministry, all right, outside of sermons and Bible studies. And one of the key terms that we always say in our group is the message of the gospel does not change, but your methods need to. There are other new technologies are coming out that the message is still the same, but we can reach people in different platforms. The opportunity that all of you have, that you can pull out your phone and you have access to 8 billion people on the face of the planet. No one ever had that opportunity. So you have a broadcast network that it's a level playing field that you can reach anybody that you want to if you just put the effort into creating some content that people are hungry for. I always tell people, if you have a restaurant that only serves biscuits and gravy, what churches are doing now is like, I don't care if you like biscuits and gravy. This is a tradition. You have to like it. People don't do that anymore. How about find out what the audience is and create that content that feeds their need? Jesus satisfied people's needs first before they ever started giving them. I'm getting into the Bible. Let me keep going on. All right. Now, I know some of y'all might say, and a bunch of people have talked about it, I'm a team of one. How can I do all of this stuff? There's a whole lot of work. Don't try and do it all yourself. There are people in your ministry that you're associating with that probably are not doing anything else in the church, but this might be the catalyst to jump them off into their ministry. Don't try and do everything. I'm not a TikTok person. I'm not going to make that. My daughter is going on 11. She loves that. I would encourage getting the other generations to make content under the church's broadcast network that reaches their generation and is applicable to the platform. My mom is 88. Is no reason for her to get up on here and trying to make TikTok videos. That's not her thing. That's not her demographic. That's not her generation. Your broadcast network has the ability to reach all these platforms different forms of content to reach different generations, different people, and make it applicable. Don't try and do it yourself. Recruit other people, because I'm guarantee if you got kids, anybody in my age or younger, they're already doing something. Why not encourage them to create content that's for that generation under the banner of your ministry? And like I said, get a brainstorming session, throw every idea imaginable, because there's no stupid ideas. There really isn't, because it might not cater to you, but it may cater to another generation. Bring people in, get ideas outside of the box that your ministry can do, because we've already done the sermons, we've already done the Bible studies, we've already done the vacation Bible schools. It's about creating new content with what you have already in a different way, with a different method to share the same message that we already know that we're doing on Saturdays, Sundays, whatever day that you have your service. So when you develop all of this, again, the mindset is you have a broadcast network. Develop your weekly schedule, meaning that, like, I'll give you an example for me. I do a Q&A on Fridays. I do a round table on every other Saturday. And I used to do podcasts on Monday. I do installs from Tuesday through Thursday. That's my schedule. So figure out whatever that is, whether it's you're starting the day out with prayer, 5-minute prayer, you do a Bible study, you do a podcast, you do a kind of like a sit down and let's create food from the Bible as a food entertainment show. Whatever the idea is, put it down as a schedule so that people know that, oh man, I got to get back to this church because their live stream or whatever it is, because they post this every day at this time or this day of the week. Now you have people binging your content, people coming back, sharing your content. That's what it's about. Not just, oh, we got another 2-hour service. No, you want to get people excited because of you're getting and meeting their needs in a different way that they didn't expect to hear from your ministry. And you have the potential, everyone has the potential to do that because you have a global broadcasting network. All right. And like I said, I didn't talk about buying anything. Start with what you have. All your planning and brainstorming mean nothing if you have not started. And because when you get started, you will know what corrections need to be made as you go, not before you go. It's just like a GPS. It's not going to know to tell you left or right if you haven't started moving. All right. Keep moving forward. Keep learning, keep pushing, keep getting inspiration for whatever you do, because, hey, you might have some kids that love playing Minecraft and you might want to streamline that and just have that as different generations teaching older generations video games. What does that have to do with the Bible, AJ? Or what does that have to do with church? You have two generations that are sharing, and they are now, a younger generation is teaching another generation that sometimes don't talk. And we need to show how to actually demonstrate that. How you can share and pass knowledge up and pass knowledge down. Different ideas. It's about showing the principles of the Bible in a different way, not just having a lecture form. All right. Just keep coming up with ideas and keep pushing forward. Throw some stuff against the wall. Throw some mud against the wall. Does it work? Let's make corrections. Keep moving. Keep moving. That's what it's all about. All right. And like I said, ask your congregation, ask viewers, what would you see? Ask them, what are they watching when they're not in church? There's your creative juices right there on what your ministry can create to reach more people. Again, I'm not trying to tell you about buying anything, selling anything. I'm just want to encourage you that you have so many more potentials to create more content, to reach more people in a more effective way because of all these tools, technologies that all these companies are putting in our hands with our ministry. Now, what can we do to amp it up to reach even more? Instead of expecting everybody to come to our church, our sanctuary, our temple, whatever, how other ways can we meet them where they're at and give them a message and a purpose in a way that can reach them, that can impact them more than just a sermon? And you have the ability to do that with your broadcasting network. I don't know if you ever thought that you have one, but today you realize you do have one. All the tech that you got, all the cameras, all the audio, it can be used to reach people in a different method, but sharing the same message. So I hope y'all got some ideas. If you ever wanted to get in contact with me, you can find me on YouTube at AJ the CEO. You can email me at info@ajholmes.com, or you can go to ajholmes.com to set up consultations, whatever, if you need any help. And again, thank you so much. I know I'm hours short. I didn't even notice the time that I have. I need to see. Yeah, I'm right on time. I got 5 minutes. But again, I just want to encourage y'all that there's something unique about you. That there's something inside of you that is content that you may have never thought about, that somebody is waiting to hear what you have. Use that camera, use the keyboard, use whatever. So let me throw out some ideas. For example, I play. Why not have a session where your band comes in early, an hour early before band practice, choir rehearsal, and they just have worship music that people can just sit and listen to and meditate and read the word of God. That's an idea. We talked about it. Go through the Bible in a Bible study and have your 3 best cooks cook. Okay, it said the children of Israel lived off of quail and manna that tasted like honeycomb and stuff like that and quail. Why not have 3 of your best people cook, have a show where they're cooking their own inspiration? Oh, wait a minute, what's a meal that can make you give up your birthright? Why not teach about that and give an opportunity for somebody to be able to create that? That's entertainment and it's educational at the same time. Hey, there's somebody else. Hey, they're talking about the temple and they're building it, and it was like blue with sapphire, and they got these rings. Why not have some of the kids and you give a whole bunch of Lego blocks and they're building the temple right there while you're educating? There's so many different ideas. Take the lid off the imagination, because there's so much content that you can do, that you can create under your ministry, that there's somebody that needs to hear that. There's 8 billion people. Don't limit yourself to just one form of content. You have a broadcast network. You can make whatever content that you want. And I hope that it reaches people, because the message does not change, just the methods. So again, thank y'all, Paul, Tess, everybody at PTZOptics. Thank you so much. I appreciate, and I hope you got something out of that.
Wow, that was a really great presentation. Thanks so much, AJ, for sharing. I was jotting down some notes as you were speaking. Hopefully we can connect after this webinar is done. It was really great to hear your heart for the local church and using what you have. One of the notes I took down that I want to just kind of repeat is the concept of starting with what you have. And I fully am behind that. I served in a vocational ministry for a long time myself as a lighting director, and similar phrase, similar idea, and something I want to just share with you guys real quick is the concept of a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction. So I will be talking about some lighting and also just making known about some services that we have available, some tools that we have here at ProChurch Lights to help churches in their lighting journeys, and also for live stream improvement. But again, guys, it's all about leveraging and using the tools, the equipment that we have, and being faithful where we are planted, and being faithful to the assignment that God has given us. So I'm gonna turn off the pastoral hat here, and we're gonna jump on in, and we're gonna talk a little bit today. So again, as I mentioned before, we have a great tool that I want to make known here right at the get-go, and that is the visual mock-up service that we offer here at ProChurch Lights. It's a really great tool where we can come alongside you, help design a mock-up to help you visualize and be able to have an imagination, if you will, with what lighting can look like in your sanctuary space, and just getting consultation to help know a roadmap to achieve some of these goals that you lay out before us and such. So scan the QR code if you're interested in checking that out. We'll go ahead and jump on in. So if your live stream is looking flat, dark, inconsistent week to week, it's almost never the camera. Many times it's the lighting that is a culprit and the thing that needs to be leveraged. So myself, I'm a lighting designer by trade. I am the lead lighting designer here at Protus Lights. My name is Frank Schabell, and I'm just so excited to be able to talk with you today and share with you 3 lighting moves that will instantly level up your live stream. So again, it's about leveraging what you have. And these moves here are things that you can implement right away to start making these steps in order to improve your live stream and to be a light to the online congregation, the community that might be tuning in and watching your live streams. So the moves that I'm going to lay out for you today is move 1, layering your lights. Move 2, matching the color temperature of said lights. And then move 3, executing consistently. So that's one that I'm excited to talk about. And that's getting back to some of my years in vocational ministry as a line director. So live stream photo from a church that we came alongside, located in California. So the camera shot here is from a live stream. So in of itself, it's not bad per se, but as you see, the picture is a little grainy. The camera is doing a whole lot of heavy lifting in order to get an image that is capturing the pastors in the shot here. As you can see, the pastors here are wearing a lighter color. They're kind of blending into the background here. So the camera that's being utilized here actually was a good camera, but it's doing a lot of work in order to produce an image that they were using for their live stream. So they came to us looking for help. And the first thing I want to talk to you guys today about is the first move of layering your lights. The number one mistake churches make with their live streams is turning on their lights and hoping for the best. I know it sounds kind of humorous here, but a lot of times when churches come to us, they are sending in their pictures of their live stream and things are turned on full blast and they're hoping for good quality lighting for their live stream. And things are just not turning out the way that they envisioned. Now, it's not about trying to make your live stream look like insert any popular mega church live stream in this thought here, but it's not about trying to copy someone else's live stream. It is trying to ensure that the live stream that's being broadcast and sent to people online watching are able to hear the gospel message without visual distractions. Now, I'm not going to get into it, but that also includes audio being clear and understandable, and making sure that the video transitions are clear. But lighting, this is a way that we can help people to feel like they're in the room if they're not able to attend the gathering in person. Move number 1, laying your lights. Intentionally set the brightness of your light levels. Now, many of you that are on this webinar here, I imagine, like when I was in vocational ministry, wore multiple hats doing several different roles. The person that might be watching right now, you might be the lead live stream operator, slides operator. You might also be preaching on some of the weekends as well. So you're managing multiple hats. I'm going to use a quick analogy talking about audio. Now, I use this analogy to help paint a picture, and I'll connect it to lighting here in a second. But when it comes to mixing audio, there is an artistry to mixing the different levels of audio because you want to highlight certain parts of the worship song that you're controlling the mixer with during the in-person gathering. So you are strategically, intentionally having the guitar turned up during certain moments, a certain vocalist turned up or taken down a little bit. It's the same way with lighting, where you want to use your lights and to balance and to create the visuals you want to produce in your live stream. So setting your lights at full brightness is not the fix. A mentor of mine used to say to me, Frank, lights are designed to dim from 0 to 100. Don't be afraid to utilize those percentages. The next thing that I want to speak to you about with Move 1 is utilizing proper fixture positions. Now, when it comes to fixture positions, again, I'm not saying that you need to go out and get new equipment right away. It certainly would help, but leveraging what you have right now and having the fixtures in the correct position can help get you back some good returns when it comes to your live stream. So let's dive in. We'll dive into the different positions that you should utilize in your live stream. The first position that you want to utilize in your live stream is what we call at Protrus Lights front wash. If you're more of a video-minded person, I'm a lighting designer by trade. I'll use lighting terms here, but when it comes to the front wash or the key light, you want to ensure that the light fixture is at a position that is at approximate 45-degree angles away from the subject in the ceiling and pointing downward to help highlight the person's face so they are able to be seen and the lips are able to be seen during the live stream. This will help a lot with making sure that people are able to better connect with what is being spoken about during the live stream. Now, 45 is the bullseye to shoot for, friends, but 40 to 50 degrees is still within that window from personal experience and also our experience as consultants and trainers with lighting. The next thing you want to ensure that you have implemented is backlight or hair light, if you want to call that as well. If you look at my camera shot here in the webinar, you'll actually see I have a little bit of a glow on top of my hair and also on my shoulder. I actually have a backlight or hair light installed in my camera shot in my studio here. Now, this light is designed to be at a steeper downward angle on top of the subject to help bring more separation from the backdrop. It helps add more depth. When front light's being utilized, it helps bring clarity. When backlight is utilized, it helps create some depth on the subject. Now, these two elements are probably the most critical elements to have. The third item I want to talk about is wall wash. Now, wall wash, what that is, it's a light fixture that is utilized to help highlight the backdrop in the shot. So at AJ's and Paul's, actually, I noticed that they were using some wall wash lights. Good job, guys. You had a little bit of color on the back wall, help add some visual interest, but also help create a visual backdrop for the camera shot that was in the live stream there. So the angles for that can vary, but the goal of the wall wash light is to help add some color, if possible, to the backdrop and some texture. Now, going back to that church in California, this is actually the same church with the proper lighting in the proper positions being utilized. So I would say, from my experience, that this is significantly improved, and these are little adjustments that they were able to achieve with the proper equipment implemented. Okay, now, as you see, pastors are clear in the live stream there. There's actually a nice little glow on their hair and their shoulders that's helping them to visually pop out from the backdrop. And then there's also that nice wall wash there, and it's producing that texture on their stone wall. I actually love this live stream, and this is a great example that you guys can utilize when you're envisioning ways that you can improve your live stream. Okay, so move one, pro tips. Don't just aim your lights and hope for the best. Strategically focus your lights to highlight the specific areas as I called out before. Don't be afraid to continue to refine and adjust. I oftentimes say that lighting is a moving target and you're constantly improving and adjusting. Even LDs like myself, I am consistently adjusting settings, programming, and trying to continue to grow in my craft. And then also, this is a sneaky one. Be mindful of reflective surfaces on your platform and in your sanctuary. So this can be things like reflective floor. That's something that I have to be careful of. And my church that I serve at, actually. Also piano, windows, things like that of that nature. Things that can play and add different values and things happening in your live stream there. To recap this, everyone, intentionally adjust your brightness levels of your fixtures. Utilize fixtures in their optimal locations for specific purposes. So this is not where we're trying to shadow box, as Paul would say. We're actually trying to be intentional and use our equipment in the most optimal ways. And so, as I was speaking about this before, the visual mockup service, it's a roadmap and a tool that we utilize, and it's something that I'm very proud of that we're able to offer and help hundreds of churches, thousands of churches through this service. So if you want to learn more about what lighting can look like in your space and want to be able to speak to someone, help think through and process this with an expert's experience, scan the QR code, check it out. We would love to be able to connect with you. Here is an image of a live stream happening at a church out in Texas, if I recall correctly. Now, The image here, as you see, pastor in this image is very blue, a little smurfy, if you will. So I'm not going to call anyone out here. If your live stream looks like this, we can help with that. But as you can see here, the image of this is not correct to what his skin tone would be in real life. I certainly hope not. Now, this is a pretty common thing that we see, and many times it's not necessarily the light's fault in the situation in this picture here, but it's actually the settings of the camera. Now, I know I said before and previously that lighting is a huge component, but there are camera settings that we need to be mindful of when we're working with our live stream and our iMag experiences here too. Most live stream problems are actually color temperature problems disguised as camera issues. So move 2 is to make sure that your color temperatures are matching and things are dialed in from that standpoint. Auto white balance. I oftentimes call this an ankle biter, if you will. It is a setting that you can have enabled on a camera where it'll cause your camera to shift and change color temperatures to what what the camera is deemed as best in their live stream. So if you have your auto white balance turned on and you are moving your camera, you're panning, tilting, following past on the stage, and the different lighting levels are affecting the live stream, you might see your camera colors shift from more of a more yellow orange to more of a blue tint, and back and forth, basically chasing between those different temperatures. Now, something that you really want to do, if you're not doing this yet, is lock in that auto white balance. So that way your live stream is getting a consistent color temperature when the camera is pointed out onto the platform where pastor is preaching from. Pro tips in regards to color temperature and matching these things. Choose a specific color temperature for your stage and, if possible, your house lights. Now, I know we're talking about stage a lot here, but your house lights can also play a part of this as well, especially if you have different camera shots that are out in the congregational area and you're wanting to get a wider camera shot. Okay, so with that, we oftentimes recommend at PCL utilizing a 4000K color temperature as a sweet spot. The reason why we like that is it seems to hug that line well of being not too warm and not too cool, and it looks nice on camera. Now, the color temperatures that you decide upon, that's completely up to you, but the higher you go in color temperature, the more blue people will look naturally just because of the cooler temperature that's being produced. So be mindful of that and experiment with the color temperature that you want to achieve, and then lock that in. Next, also watch out for these invisible sabotage types of things. And that is additional light sources on your stage that can add extra colors and things that you don't want to have factored into the live stream. And that is LED walls. Now, LED wall is an amazing tool that you can use for sermons, for creative elements, for displaying worship lyrics. But if it's not dialed that back accordingly temperature-wise or color-wise, it can definitely mess with what the camera is perceiving on the stage. So be mindful of that, of their setting on the LED wall. Also, be mindful of the RGBW mixing lights you might be using and also their effect on stage. Now, I make it a personal rule as a lighting programmer where I try not to utilize too much saturated, strong colored lights that's highlighting pastor on the platform during sermons, because I don't want my colors to potentially make him look smurfy, if you will. So be mindful of your lighting settings that's being sent on stage. House light levels, if you have incandescent lamps, that's something you need to watch out for, because the lower you go with incandescent lamps, the warmer and more orange they will look. And the higher you go intensity wise, it'll actually be more of a lighter orange, if you will. And then ambient light from outside. I'm going to talk a little more about that here in a moment. Now, this is the same church I mentioned before, and this is a different pastor, if I recall. This photo here is showing the same church, but now with better dialed in camera settings with what they have currently. So again, a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction. And for them, this was a big improvement for their live stream quality, getting their auto white balance dialed in and then adjusting their layering of their light levels, if you will. Move 2, this is best practices for my experience as a lighting designer. And that is, again, to lock in that camera white balance, as I mentioned before. Manually set it and then use your lighting, not your camera, to achieve the desired looks. Light control your space. Now, the ambient light note I mentioned in the previous slide. Ambient light, such as things coming from outside, from windows, stained glass, ceiling, windows, etc. We're not anti windows at all at ProTrust Lights. We serve every style, denomination, and space as you can think of here at our company. But something for you to consider to help guard and protect the lighting that's on the platform to help reduce possible distractions or things that could interrupt the quality of the live stream is tinting your windows, if that's something that you can have a conversation about. Shades potentially being utilized when it's especially sunny outside. Or you can also consider implementing light fixtures that are powerful enough to compete with the ambient light outside. A mentor of mine, like I mentioned before, he actually was on staff at a very large church in California, and they had gigantic windows on the sides of their walls there. And the vision of pastor was they wanted it not to be a black box style church. They wanted to be nice and airy and bright. So strategically, in order to be able to move forward with that, he had to get fixtures that were punchy and powerful enough to compete with that. So that is a reality. It's something you can do if the vision from senior leadership is to keep your windows wide open for all light to come in, is to look at getting the proper equipment to help with that. All right. To recap, move 2, lock in that auto white balance, utilize specific color temperatures so everything matches, and then control the external lighting that's coming in if at all possible. And we'll let you make those calls on what's appropriate for your space, but doing that will help your live stream quality. Okay, so we're going to get into move 3 here, and I'm going to get pastoral for a moment. I really loved how, and the previous speakers, AJ and Paul, they were very clear about making sure that they're leveraging technology to help communicate the gospel message and to help make new followers of Christ. This image here is a real image. I know this is probably one of the most extreme images that we've gotten where churches have reached out to us looking for help how to improve their live stream quality. Now, this church had equipment already, but they were not utilizing it in the proper ways. Their cameras were not dialed in appropriately, and their live stream quality was suffering because of that. Now, this is something that we are very passionate at ProTrust Lights, and that's making sure that people are able to hear the gospel message without there being any unnecessary needed distractions. Now, no one's perfect. Things do happen, and there's a lot of grace for that. But whatever we can do as technical artists on this webinar, whatever we can do to help protect and help serve pastor the best so that way the message can be communicated clearly, let's do everything we can to help achieve that. Now, this church, they had RGB mixing lights being utilized as their front lights. Now, I'm not going to get into that. It's a whole different conversation. But once they were able to reposition, reutilize equipment and get equipment that fit their budget, they were able to achieve a much better live stream for their Easter services. So I kid you not, the image from the previous image there, that was from the weekend prior to this image here. So a dramatic 9-day difference was able to be achieved with the proper equipment, camera settings, and positioning of lights. They reutilized their existing equipment in different locations, and they were able to achieve a way better image. Again, a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction. So don't despise and look down on those little tweaks that you can make to help give a great return to your ministry. Move 3. And this is the big move. This is the thing to highlight here, and that is executing consistently. Executing consistently. Now, a great live stream isn't just created just once. It's recreated every week. And this is where you as team leaders, as ministers, this is where you guys can come and lean in heavily here. And you can implement these things right away. So, with your newly acquired knowledge of move 1 and 2, this is where you're going to want to lock in your lighting presets. If you have an intelligent lighting control system or you have faders or some sort of control system, lock in those settings, document those settings. So that way you're able to recall those settings consistently. Now, if you're trying to figure out tools and equipment and things to look in for better lighting control, I would recommend a software called LightKey. It's a wonderful software, and that's actually what the image of this here is. This is actually the preset window where you're able to store these specific lighting settings and color settings that you utilize for service. So you don't have to remember percentages and color temperatures and hues. You can store these and you can recall these consistently, you and your entire team. So store those scenes. Make sure you document these settings somewhere, if at all possible. Predictable excellence instead of random creativity. I think pastors who are watching this would appreciate that. Achieving predictable excellence versus random creativity. That will serve the ministry well. So to do that, simple strategy. Create those 4 to 5, etc., consistent lighting looks that you're going to utilize for your worship gatherings. A walk-in or a pre-service, an announcements slide that's dialed in for live stream. Worship, the worship you're listen and enjoy on this webinar today, have those settings stored that you can recall and reutilize. And then the most critical lighting scene that you're going to program, and for me as well, and it's the sermon, the message lighting scene. That is the scene that needs to be locked in and dialed in by far when compared to the other settings here. Why does consistency matter? I get pretty passionate about this. Your live stream will be clear and distraction free when things are locked in and things are better and things are set up to look as best as possible. A big easy win for that one church I showed you previously is Pastor Skin looks correct now every single week. Praise God. Camera settings can utilize their optimized settings. So when lighting's dialed in, you're helping set up your live stream operator for success. So if I was working with Paul at my church, like he'd be thanking me every weekend, hopefully, that lighting is dialed in for his purposes. Online viewers will feel like they're instantly that they're in the room without there being any kind of sense of being disconnected. So having the live stream dialed in such a way where people are able to better engage and feel like they're a part of it, that's serving them well, the online congregation well. And for those who are also video editors in this group, editing and color grading becomes a lot more easily done because everything's predictable. So having consistency will help serve your ministry well. So to recap this, store those critical lighting scenes and presets for yourself. Document settings so it doesn't just live in one person's mind. So if one weekend you get sick, it's not all rely on you if service is going to go well. That's an opportunity for you guys to be able to serve your churches and be able to take people under your wing and help teach them how to operate lighting in their live stream with excellence. So don't keep all the information to yourself, but share that with everyone. Use consistent lighting scenes so the live stream quality is nailed every time. So I cannot highlight it anymore, but man, please do what you can to nail the consistent lighting settings so though the live stream will succeed. Some final tips and thoughts from a lighting person's perspective, and that is use fade times when changing lighting scenes with your software. So if at all possible, utilize transition times to help reduce exposure jumps on cameras. So try doing 3 to 5 second fades. That works very well from programming experience. Don't be afraid of backlight. Now, when it comes to lighting, something that helps add depth is that backlight. And also adds an extra layer of creative flair to the live stream. So experiment with colors, experiment with the brightness levels of your backlight to help people visually pop and look clear on the camera feed. Use those proper angles as mentioned before in move 1. Have those fixtures at the best location possible to help lighting be as good for the live stream as it can be. This is a very helpful thing for me working as a lighting programmer, trying to think like a video person, and that is having a multi-viewer, which is a monitor feed showing the different camera shots, what they are seeing in real time. Having that near lighting will help the lighting programmer, such as myself, be able to intelligently dial in settings so we can have a distraction-free and smooth-looking live stream. And again, I'm going to hit this on the head again, and that is do not turn on auto exposure. I will also say do not turn on the auto white balance. So watch out for those settings. Do your best to lock in those settings and experiment. And so you are setting yourself up for success. So with all that being said, I want to thank you sincerely for allowing Purchase Life to be able to be a part of this, be able to share some thoughts with you. We believe you'll be able to utilize these moves right away at your church to be able to improve your live stream. And if you are interested, as I said before, to learn more about what lighting can look like in your space, we'd love to have a conversation and be able to help dream with you in your sanctuary space. So scan the QR code, check out our mock-up service, and we're looking forward to connecting with you really soon.
All right, we have a giveaway. Thank you, everyone who attended the Worship Summit this year. I was so impressed with Monty Weaver's presentation. I was impressed with AJ. I was impressed with everyone. Jay Gosselin. I mean, Frank. Thank you all for. Everybody has a great great opinions and a great faith forward thinking for how to use all this technology to really forward our organizations and the wonderful things that we stand for. I just got off the phone with a church that's thinking about putting in a broadcast club, and I'm so excited, and it's really exciting. Thank you for reaching out, everyone who emailed me. A lot of people are excited about the potential of expanding their youth programs with a broadcast club. I think it's awesome to keep kids more engaged and also kind of combine that with everything that's going on. So I think it's awesome. And I'm going to pull a winner. What are they going to win, Mike? They're going to win a camera. Okay, the Move SE. That is wonderful. So someone's going to win one of our cameras, which is awesome. All right. The winner is Rob Katz. Thank you so much, Rob. We're about to turn this over to our engineers who are going to be here to answer questions. So that's awesome. Congratulations, Rob. I was just going to fill you guys in on this conversation I just had. We're thinking about the broadcast club and what the students can do. And one of the things that I think is so amazing with the broadcast club is the students can start to clip pieces of the sermon, and you can challenge the students to really listen to the message that's being streamed and find the 10-second or 20-second clip that really resonates with them, and then share that on social media in short form content with the world. So there's so much the youth can bring, so much energy, so much technical capabilities, and creating a space in your church and your house of worship to allow these students to play with the technology and use it, I think is so incredible. I'm going to be putting in a broadcast club at my church. So next quarter, when we do this worship summit again, I'll have a lot more learnings. But another thing we're thinking about is recording every musical performance. And when you do that, it allows us to potentially take the music and create a Spotify or an Apple Music account where we can actually create revenue streams for the church. So it's just a lot that can be done when you bring more people together, when you bring the youth together. AJ was talking about, bringing in kids to talk about video games, and we need to engage children. We need to engage the next generation of worship storytellers, is one way to put it. The next generation of human beings on this planet, bringing them together And I think a broadcast club is a great thing. I know so many of you have live streaming systems already. So it's surprising how easy it could be to, and I'm telling you, and I know some kids at our church are very excited. So I know it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be doing it. So I will report back on the progress. And I hope that it's been helpful for you. Whatever you learned today, I hope it was helpful. You heard a lot of different stuff. You heard about lighting. You heard about audiovisual. You heard about the power of broadcasting and streaming. We heard about engaging the youth, engaging the ministry. So this is a wide variety. If there's any questions for me, I'm here. I'm happy to answer them. But if not, we're going to go into a full breakout session where everybody can join, everyone can chat. So we're going to have an engineer there. So thank you so much, everyone. Really, really enjoyed this. I think that our team here is going to make some quick changes. I think we're going to maybe enable a breakout room. I don't know if we need a breakout room. I think we just need to let everyone unmute themselves, start their video, and do all the things that we could. This is a meeting room, right? This is a Zoom meeting right now, I think. But Josh Thompson from our product team is going to be here. This is a great chance to ask him questions. It's a great chance to say, hey, can the camera do this? And if not, maybe that's a feature request that he can take back to the team. Maybe it can do it. And you're just not aware of how the settings work. Sometimes it's not even a PTZOptics question. It's a vmix question or it's an OBS question. But if you have any questions, that's why we do this. We know that a lot of churches have volunteers that come and go. And sometimes you lose some of that technical knowledge and you're a pastor or a worship leader and you need help. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. So we'll open that up for anyone who's interested in chatting and networking. And I will thank you so much for attending, everyone. This has been an awesome worship summit. So let's turn it over to Josh.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Joshua Thompson. I am the Senior Hardware Manager for PTZOptics. Opening this up for anyone with questions, and again, thank you for joining. Sounds like it's been a great time and a lot of valuable information. And forgive me, I am trying, audio is very low. All right, let's see. How does this do? Am I coming in any clearer? Here we go. All right. Now I should be on the right microphone and everyone should be able to hear me. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. Didn't really have a lot of time to prepare, but here we are. Let's see, we're going to start with the message board, I guess. Let's see, will older PTZ cameras work with the joystick controllers? We get a lot of jumping using mouse control. Yes, the G2 cameras that we used to offer versus the G3 cameras for the Move 4Ks, Link 4Ks, Move SEs, they are all compatible with the joystick controllers that we offer. So that's the HC Joy, the PT Joy, and the PT Super Joy. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. Okay, let's see, other questions in the board. or is there hands raising that we can answer? See, question about the CMP public beta several times, but I have never received a link to download it. If this is the CMP version 1, we have archived that. It is no longer available through the website, I believe, but I will reach out to my web development team and see what could be the potential issue if it is still actively available, and I'll have them follow up. Let's see, I want to place a camera 65 feet from our pulpit. What power zoom would be best for head and shoulders shot for the speaker? We have a wonderful camera calculator through our website. If you look up our cameras on PTZOptics.com, there is a chart that you can fill in that will give you that perfect zoom length and level. Off the top of my head, I would think somewhere between a 20x and a 30x would be your best bet. I would always err on the side of caution and look at the 30x. That way you'll have a bigger platform to do some tighter shots if you needed. See, we have an older G2 camera where the color seems slightly off, and the only in-camera color correction seems to be the hue control, which doesn't really help. We had no option but to use the correction OBS, color multiply settings. Any suggestions of something else we should be using? We've connected all the cameras with a white card, but the PT G2 still doesn't look great. With this, and let me double check real fast, there are available options, I think, through the, give me 1 second. I don't currently have an access to a G2 camera to verify. There should be settings in under image control that'll help you fine tune that a little more. If not, there are some API commands that you may be able to use to definitely correct that. Or we have some softwares in under the developer tools on our website that may help you better understand and do some more color achievement for that camera. See, from John, should one adjust colors on the camera themselves, or can you use software for ad hoc adjustments?
No, yeah, absolutely.
I would recommend color tuning your camera first to the setting, and then fine tune your colors in those softwares. I know like vmix offers some pre-production color tuning. OBS, I believe, does as well. But I always think it's best practice to have your camera color tuned as best as you possibly can before moving on to these other softwares. All right. Okay, so is there a way to adjust the auto tracking so that the tracking, so that it tracks only left and right, but not as much up and down? Yes, for right now, for the cameras, we have a Visca command under the developer portal, which will allow you to set PT limits. And this would be in best practice, the way that you'd set the upper left side and the lower right side, and it'll stay within that boundary as it tracks left and right. With new firmwares, and if anyone's been introduced to the new web UI we've been working on, which is currently in our beta program, we have the PT limits brought forward into the web UI. But as of right now, if you're not using the beta firmware, the best option is to look at the API commands we have for Visca. We have a Move 4K. We've updated firmware, but very light when try color correction. Is the white balance off? The rest of the message is missing from that last one. So the CMP, the way we look at, so the question is something intended to replace the CMP? The way I've looked at the CMP was it was a great starting tool that we allowed us to build into what is now Hive. And Hive is unlocking a lot of those similar controls that we introduced into the CMP. So I encourage everyone to go and take a look at what Hive has available. That would be at PTZOptics.com/Hive. You can join the beta program and try that out on your cameras. But I think the CMP was a great building stone to get to that launched platform that we have. Currently, we are not in development of doing anything new with the CMP. The question from Sharon, we have daylight coming into our sanctuary from side windows. It really interferes with our projector viewing. Any recommendations on how to tint or cover the windows would be appreciated. Unfortunately, that one is a little out of my wheelhouse. We have an answer for blackout curtains. I think outdoor lighting has always been a challenge that I've viewed in many areas. The more you can cover that source up and get controllable light through, spotlights or other lighting sources is always recommended. The more you can control, the better, because as the sun shifts, you can get a lot of different things that happen, especially when using objects like auto exposure and auto white balance.
This goes on the middle one. I think it's just if you wanted to make it another level up. Yeah. I think so. Dude, absolutely.
Yes, I highly recommend experimenting with Hive. It's a great platform. It's unlocked a lot of possibilities that the CMP had, including so many more.
Pretty good, John.
Let's see, is there 4K 60 cameras available? Yes, all of our Move cameras, Move 4K cameras, Link 4K cameras, and the Studio 4K cameras offer 4K 60.
Wait, what oh, for the image?
Yes, I do believe this was recorded. Yep, I have a little recording in process indication at my top, so should be good with that, Brandon.
John, thanks for all your help putting all this together. Yeah, I'll be back. This looks awesome. Dude, everything's installed now. Everything's installed. Yeah, those metal are like attached.
Okay, another follow-up. So for the 4K 60 question, we offer 4K 60 across all of our HDMI outputs, but our SDIs are only 3G and they're limited to 1080 60. Sharon, the recording will be available through YouTube afterwards. 4K 60 is offered across NDI outputs as well. And that includes SRT, RTSP, RTMP, all of our IP outputs. USB is 4K 30, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, that's absolutely okay. I'm glad you're exploring the move 4K, especially with NDI. There's lots of things to use in these cameras that'll benefit your workflow. Please, if you have any questions, and I encourage anyone, even anyone on this call, if you have questions, concerns, need some help, reach out to our wonderful support team. They are great. They're available over the phone or through email if we're outside working hours. And just, I can't speak highly enough of our support team. They are fantastic people. John, can you give me a little more detail on this question? Does the joystick override camera settings or just toggle them on or off? I think what you're asking, so when pairing a joystick controller, one of the PTZOptics or HuddleCam HD joystick controllers with a PTZOptics camera, it's actually changing the settings of the camera. Everything is saved on the camera, not inside the joystick itself. Is there a listing of network switches that have been tested or recommended when using the cameras with NDI? I'm not sure of a formal list. We may have something in our support information channel. I always recommend the Netgear Pro AV switches. They do a great job of identifying and handling QoS automatically with a lot of different settings that they have available. Pretty much plug and play and ready to go. Let's see, is it worth replacing existing USB HDMI PTZ camera with an NDI integrated camera instead of using an external encoder? Well, right now, if you replace any of your cameras with the Move 4K, Move SE, Link 4K, well, Link is Dante AVH. So Move 4K, Move SE, or the studio cameras, they all come native NDI, so that would be something that might be great for you to experiment with if you want to break away from that USB HDMI workflow. But I do encourage the use of NDI. It's very easy to use, plug and play. You just recognize it on your network and you're ready to go. Thomas, I see that you have opened up your video for me to see you. Are you asking a question? Thomas Stab?
No, I'm trying to turn it off.
Oh, sorry. I was hoping for some audio and a back and forth conversation here, but
Well, I was going to ask the question about instant replay, and I don't know if there was any consideration for setting up an instant replay through the SuperJoy or some other module that might be added.
so we are always exploring new technologies, especially something like instant replay. Currently, the devices that we have to offer right now do not support instant replay, but I would highly encourage you to look towards our products in the future. Let's see, will the camera automatically download firmware updates? So no, the cameras do not automatically download firmware updates. However, in the G3 series, if you go to system settings, there is a spot to click check camera firmware, and that will tell you if your camera is up to date or not. If it is not up to date, it'll ask you to download the firmware and upload it. And to receive email notifications, I believe that's done automatically through the PTZOptics website if you're signed on as a community member. Let's see. Tom Barber, G2 firmware tips. You have more questions around that one? And while I wait for that, Paul Van Dyke, did you have a question? Understood. Yes, Tom. If we do have firmwares available for the G2 that you haven't currently made it to, that will be listed on our website under firmware, and you will be using the upgrade tool that's available to push that firmware through a software either on your Windows PC or Mac. So a question from Michael Drummond. I apologize if I butchered your last name there. Our NDI cameras are relatively low latency. If you look at NDI HX3 through our NDI cameras and you have the network to support them, we are certified NDI HX3, which is a sub 100 millisecond latency. Hopefully that's fast enough for you for your production. Jason Moore, did you have a question? I see you came off video mute. Oh, I'm unable to hear you. Let's see, Sharon, for some reason you lost all of your presets on your 30X when you updated, but not on your 20X. Was this on a Move series camera, a G3 series camera, or a G2 series camera? Either way, that should not have happened. We take a lot of pride in making sure that you as the customer are unaffected by our firmware updates. And it sounds like it could have just been a fluke, and I do apologize for that happening. But we definitely intend to make sure that is not something that'll happen again. And Sharon, if it does happen again, please reach out to our support team. You may have a little bit of a deeper rooted issue with that particular camera, then firmware is able to fix that. Paul, unfortunately, we are currently at our slowest limits with the cameras and the hardware that's built into these cameras. We are trying to make some tweaks in software to see if we can get a little bit of slower movement speed, but what happens is if we were to make the motors slow any more than they currently are, you'll start getting the stutter effect as it moves because we'd have to underpower them. So right now, unfortunately, that's number one setting is as slow as we can get. But we are always working to try to improve that with firmware in the future, or we are definitely looking forward to slower movement cameras for future models. All right, it looks like the questions are slowing down and we're in the final few minutes. Does anyone else have anything to add before we go? If not, I've enjoyed our time talking. Please reach out to our teams and ask these questions. Anything you push through our support team generally ends up right on my desk, especially some of the more technical, deep questions, and we'll try to resolve them for you.
Do you guys have a plugin for BitFocus Companion that's more than just control? Like, as I was typing in a thing about the check for firmware update, like that could be a feedback variable as an example. Like, if it's in the web page that the camera gives, then in theory it should be a API call that would be checkable.
So for BitFocus Companion, we are working directly with them to constantly build out our portfolio of commands and options that we have. We are working on having in Horizon our new web UI that we've been demoing, which is in beta. There will eventually be that little blinking check saying, "Hey, firmware is available. Please download or upgrade to experience the new things." All right, well, it looks like there are no more questions coming in. So I do want to thank everyone, and I'm going to turn this back over to the group who's hosting the site, this webinar. And again, great to speak one-on-one with everyone, and I hope you all have a very wonderful day.